we have seen that the product of two integers with different signs is always negative. And we also know that the product of two positive integers is always positive. In this lesson, we will see multiplication of two negative integers. Consider this question. In this expression, both the integers are negative. Before we begin solving the question, let's discuss the sign of the result. Can you guess the sign of the result? Let's understand this in a different way. We know that negative numbers represent the opposite of corresponding positive numbers. But what happens when we find the opposite of an opposite? We get the original number that's right. Look at this example. The opposite of 3 is negative 3. And finding the opposite of negative 3 gives us 3, which is the original number. Now it would be easy for you to answer this question. What is the negative of a negative number? This also tells us that the negative of a negative integer is a positive integer. So what will be the product of negative 3 and negative 4? We know that their product is surely positive. If we have only one negative integer in the question, then the product is negative. On the contrary, if there are two negative integers, then their product is positive. So now we know the sign of the result. But how do we find the correct result? We first multiply their absolute values. That gives us the answer as 12. And the answer will be positive 12 as we know that the product of two negative integers is positive. Let me give you another question to try. Can you find the product of negative 6 and negative 5? Give it a try. Let us see the answer for this question. We know that the product of two negative integers is always positive. So let us multiply the absolute values of the two numbers. We get the product as 30. Is this the final answer? Yes. As the product of two negative integers is positive, the product of negative 6 and negative 5 is 30. That was easy, right? So what could be our overall conclusion about the sign of the result of a product of two integers? If the sign of the two integers is the same, then the product will be a positive integer. And if the sign of the two integers is different, then the product will be a negative integer. However, there can be questions with more than two negative integers to be multiplied. Will their product be negative or will it be positive? Let's find out the answer to these questions in our next lesson.